we go. Good morning. Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Key. Got a star sit show for you guys. Week 15. Years flown by, and this is when folks get tired, but got to stay locked in and all the way to the finish line. So I got you covered here. We're going to be looking at some rankings, and we had some of the player profiler folks on here breaking these down, and yeah, we'll go with position by positions, but let me know in the chat if you got any specific questions. Josh Allen coming off of the #1 quarterback season in fantasy football history last week. Truly some game-breaking stuff. Right now, you're worried if you're going up against a Josh Allen team. Let me know if you're going up against one of those. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to play Lamar Jackson versus the Giants. And Joe Burrow wasn't on a bad team. He'd be in the MVP conversation as well. Tennessee's actually been a good defense, so I don't love the matchup as much, but he's still going to have Jamar Chase be able to break open any given play. But we did not have Lamar and Jaden Daniels last week with the bye, so it will be nice to get them back. Anthony Richardson also coming back, as well as Bo Nix and Drake May. Some of those guys have some rushing mobility. We'll see how confident folks are in actually putting them in their lineups. Not too sure if people want to fully buy in on some of these guys yet, but hey, right now it's kind of a point where you got to start your studs. Put in the lineup the guys that got you there. So I'm not worried about it, man. Bo Nix, QB 12 here, going up against Indy. Defense can be hit or miss. I'm good with it, man. There's a couple of Monday night games that we're going to have to watch out for. Make sure that you do have some kind of contingency plan. Luckily, there's 2 Monday night games this week. So you get a little bit of a windfall there. So it's Bears, Vikings, and then Falcons, Raiders. Right now, it's only DeAndre Swift who's questionable, fantasy-wise. I think with the Raiders quarterback, we don't know which one's actually going to start between Aiden O'Connell and Ritter, but hopefully no one's having to weigh those options right there. For me, I know we want to think Goff's going to be in this shootout. I don't know. We just saw it where Rams were in a shootout with the Bills, and then next week they kind of come back down to earth, right? These Lions, I don't know, man. It's not always on Goff's arm. They can get it done on the run. So I would keep Murray ahead of Goff here. I'd be moving Goff down below, probably not too far, but I'm interested in taking Darnold over him. I know it's a tough defense, but guy's been crushing it recently. So, yeah, tough spot with these quarterbacks, but a lot of good options. Tua's been bouncing back pretty nicely recently. Anthony Richardson, if he didn't have this tough defensive matchup, I would be really highly in on this game. And one thing you guys got to watch out for, Patrick Mahomes. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be a really windy game. So, could be a trap type situation for everyone involved in that Chiefs Browns matchup. We did have David Njoku get listed as inactive, so kind of worried that Winston might be forcing it, and that could be just a bad spot for some of these other guys. But we'll go on, and I am likely to start Judy for what it's worth, but definitely nervous in the run game. So they've got Derrick Henry #1. Derrick Henry #1 going to get up against the Giants. Henry's not been great recently, but every time he plays an easy team, he does well. So I would not have him at 1. No way. I could see Mixon, Bijan outscoring him, Chan outscoring him. plenty of these guys could get there. Charbonnet could do it again. Barkley, it's a tough defensive matchup, but I would just take him for the pure upside. So I'd be moving Henry pretty far down here, but he's still in the starting range. But I have a team where I barely want to put Henry in there. Just a little bit worried. It's a make or break week. All right, so Henry, Barkley, Chase Brown, Joe Mixon, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, James Conner, Rico Dowdle, who's been great. Alvin Kamara, they switch into Jake Haener. Touchdown upside is going to be low, but he can get there on pass catching work. Kendra Miller's getting in the mix now, but they just don't have any other weapons, really. He's their best, maybe the best player on the team that's healthy. Zach Charbonnet, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard, David Montgomery. Yeah, Hubbard's all the way back. This isn't a bad range for him. He's got upside for more, but a lot of good running backs up here. Jonathan Taylor. He's had some good games mixed in here, but tough matchup against Denver. And Taylor really hasn't been reliable all season. I'm hoping after the bye that they'll all come back looking nice, but it's really more about the matchup. Okay, Brian Robinson. He's got some rest as well. Hopefully he can have a good one here. Bucky Irving. Man, he's had a great season. This is a guy who probably is the number one running back for this team next season. Let's check out Bucky Irving real quick. I want to see how healthy is this guy. Yeah, Bucky Irving. Isaac Rendo, we got our like 11, 10 points out of that, so that's fine. Tyron Tracy, Baltimore's pass defense is bad, but the run defense is pretty decent, and I don't see any touchdown upside. I'm still a fan of Tracy. It's just a tough spot to be in there with the Giants. Bad team. But Aaron Jones, I'd want to have ahead of him. Tough defensive matchup, but him, Najee, I'd probably put ahead. And Swift here, right now, questionable for Monday Night Football. I don't know. I'd be nervous. Hopefully you still have someone else in that game, but there's no Roschon Johnson, so it's, Travis Homer. I'd be nervous, to be honest, in that spot if I have DeAndre Swift. So if you can get someone in ahead of Swift, definitely do it. And, Bucky Irving looks like it's going to play. Expected to play, so that's good. It's not a super serious back hip issue he's dealing with. All right. Isaiah Pacheco, I'd move him up at least ahead of Swift. This is supposed to be a very windy game, but I expect Chiefs to have the lead. So I could see him ahead of, at least at 22 here, ahead of where Grendo landed. Yeah. Rashad White, kind of same deal there. But yeah, it's pretty rough after that. Sincere McCormick named the starter for the Raiders. That's good. Stash him in Dynasty. I'd go ahead and move him ahead of, at least ahead of Jerome Ford. Maybe ahead of Warren here. They're definitely ahead of Warren. So I have him, probably right side, outside of the top 30. Gus Edwards, he's starting for now. So get him, but stash Vidal. Yeah. Would love to see Chubb bounce back. He's been getting some touchdowns. He's been more usable than I thought he would be, so that's good at least. All right, we'll go over to the wide receivers. Let me know if you got any specific ones, but we've just done quarterback, running back. Jamar Chase, wide receiver 1. Yep, lock that in. Puka, even in this awful game, still got it done with 17, but I expect Jefferson to outdo that. He kind of had a slump. Hopefully he doesn't bounce back or go back to the slump, because last game he had a great game. And Nico Collins is a guy that That bye week, it just feels like we haven't had Collins forever, but it's mainly been because of the injury. So go ahead, fire him up. Should be more recovered from that injury than he was, and definitely locked in. Probably has some good rhythm back now. So get Nico Collins in the lineup. All right, AJ Brown. It's around at the top 5. Mike Evans at 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7. Juwan Jennings did not get there. I think he got 5 points. Terry McLaurin was doing well before the bye, so glad to have him back. Hopefully McConkey is healthy. So it's rough. It's not one of those early window games. Great. Camera broke. Had this happen on one of my other shows. All right. Let's see. T. Higgins at 11. CeeDee Lamb at 12. Cooper Kupp. Oh, no. That was rough. JSN. I'll take JSN in the top 12. Just lock him in there. Whether you got to move out Higgins or McConkey or Juwan Jennings, whatever. Rest of the season, Jack Smith and Jigba. Wide receiver 1 for the Seahawks. Thielen looking good right now. And Dallas, they just lost their cornerback. So should be even better of a matchup for Thielen than we kind of expected coming into this one. Khalil Shakir, this is a guy who's pretty much a must start at this point. You know, last game was great. He's been pretty solid most of the season, but this game should be a shootout. Another one. All right, Cortland Sutton. He's been good. Good to get him back from the bye. Kind of surprising that he's one of the people that we're going to basically be relying on here in the playoffs. Drake London, you just can't deny the targets. He's just getting so many targets. The production isn't amazing, but the targets are there. Judy is going to be in this windy game, so that's kind of the only thing you got to worry about. It's just hard to bench him, especially with Njoku out. Ridley versus Cincinnati's bad defense. Go ahead and lock him in. Myers, 3 out of the last 4 games, double-digit targets. I'll lock him in. You know, DK's not been great these past, 3 weeks. I'm probably starting DJ Moore over him. You know, probably just in that range. I'm not going to drop him too far. He doesn't have Neighbors doesn't have the touchdown upside that DK does, or even Addison or some of these guys. I'm probably forced to drop Neighbors a little bit, but hey, Ravens one of the worst pass defenses in the league. We'll see what really happens in this one because they're now back at Tommy DeVito, so it's just a tough spot for Neighbors to get there. So Tyreek Hill, he rounded out the top 24. Then it was Adams, Waddle, Neighbors, Addison, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., Deebo Samuel, Zay Flowers, Keenan Allen, Darnell Mooney, Marvin Harrison Jr. I got in a question earlier about him versus Amari Cooper, and I just think Cooper's going to have one of these big blow-up games that he has around this time of the year. You know, good matchup where they're going to have to score to win this game. Cooper's just kind of left for dead. He hasn't really gotten a full chance to learn the playbook, so maybe that has something to do with the limited overall targets and stuff like that. But he's got some upside. Marv can get there too, but he really needs touchdowns to get there a lot of these games, it seems. More, you know, maybe you can bump him up since there's no Njoku. It's just a tough spot with that crazy weather they're going to have. Wind-wise, not a snow game. We've seen them deliver in a snow game, but the wind wasn't as bad. It was just snowing. It was a crazy game, but I don't know. I think wind is more of a factor than the cold. Yeah. Do you trust Reed this week? I think I just scrolled past him probably. Yeah. 46 here. Who's ahead of him? I'll probably Reed. Reed, you could probably put him right next to Watson, maybe ahead of Downs. Downs is coming back from injury, but also had to buy. But it's a tough matchup, mainly for the cornerback one. The number two cornerback and isn't going to be able to stop Downs, and Downs will be everywhere in the slot. So I can see Reed getting above Hopkins or maybe above Downs here, but not a yeah. So 39 is where I'd probably have Reed. Coleman and Cooper can both get there in their games. I expect that to be a shootout, so maybe I would just kind of bump down Hopkins. I'm worried about the weather conditions, the wind, bump down Downs, and then go. Man, I hate to go Watson over Reed. He's been getting a lot of targets recently. Maybe just go. Maybe go Reed, Cooper, Watson, Coleman, Hopkins. Probably in that order. Yeah, still nervous to play Pittman, Tank Dell. It's not like now that Downs is back, I'm not excited about Pittman. Pittman cannot shake the number one corner for the Broncos. I expect a horrible game for Pittman. The Dunes, all these Chicago receivers have been getting there pretty much in different games. It's not all at the same time, but we've seen it be 2 out of the 3 in a lot of the weeks. So we saw a 2-touchdown game from Odunze. That's not happening again. But between him, Allen, DJ Moore, someone's got to get it done. Yeah, I'm not going to Worthy this week. Ray McLeod is interesting. He's been great, getting a lot of targets and yards. That's probably where it ends for me, where I'm feeling comfortable. I'll do this Westbrook-Akine versus the Bengals. Tim Patrick had a 2-touchdown game last week. I'm not going to go to that. Not happening again. Michael Wilson, I'd play out of this group. Parker Washington may have an opportunity now that just everyone's injured. Yeah. Ooh, okay, let's get to the tight ends. All right. So, keep going. Oof, yeah, George Kittle at 1. He wasn't the worst person in that game today. Bowers has a chance to easily get there. McBride could be the 1 this week. We'll see. Kelsey, I'm expecting a kind of a down game with the wind, but there's just not a better option. Jonnu Smith has 0 points through the first 4 quarters of that last game, but in overtime got the touchdown, and I think it maybe catch or 2 before that. I'm sure he'll be more involved since he had the game winner and he had been great all the other games, so why not go back to him? Yeah, not so bold prediction. Jonnu outscores Kelsey this week. Andrew's been great recently, so I'm feeling decent about this. So you got Kittle, Bowers, McBride, Kelsey, Smith, Hunter Henry, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Zach Ertz coming back from the bye. He's been top 10. He's produced top 10 all year. So Pat Fryermuth, yeah, especially if Pickens is banged up. Got Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson, yeah. Maybe they're getting Brandon Cooks more involved, but yeah, I'll go to Ferguson there. Tucker Kraft, he's been getting those touchdowns. Laporta probably should be higher if it's going to be a shootout. You can probably book Laporta for a touchdown in this one. Okay, Noah Gray. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're firing up Noah Gray. Pretty much. I mean, Dalton Kincaid, I barely trust him. He's coming back from injury, and basically everyone's healthy for Buffalo. So there's just not a priority to get Kincaid involved when he hasn't really been involved. And now you have to just mix him in a game where you really want to win to have a shot at the number 1 seed. Yeah. Juwan Johnson's been great recently, so I think you can go to him. There's just not a ton of options there. Only problem is, do you trust Jake Hayner? Greg Calcaterra, he's been decent every time he's been in there, and Goddard's on IR for the rest of the season. I think you'd rather have either A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith injured before you play Calcaterra. But he's been delivering. It's just barely been delivering low targets, but then getting a touchdown out of nowhere or getting 50 yards. So he's getting there. I just barely trust it. And then Stone Smart, Chargers were getting Disley a ton of work. And then Disley got injured, but Stone Smart's been a guy who's been on the radar for years. I think he's like 6'7". Former wide receiver, though, so he can play. Yeah, Noah Njoku, Jordan Akins. If it wasn't that win game, I would be more interested, but I did pick him up. Okay. Hooper, fan. Yeah, at this point, I really only kind of trust Brenton Strange since he's the top 2 target, basically. It's either him or Parker Washington as the 2 or 3 behind Brian Thomas Jr. Gesicki, he basically only gets there if Higgins is out, so that's more of like, yeah, hold Gesicki, but I don't really want to start him. Yep, and that's pretty much it. Bellinger did get, I think, 7 targets last week, 5 catches. New quarterback this week. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, I've seen Pitts on waiver wires all over the place. It's rough times. Maybe next year, but he's going to have a great quarterback, and it looks like Cousins just fell off. So, whoops. Hopefully, he didn't draft Pitts. Yeah, and I don't see any deep plays here. I'll just flash up the kicker. Fairbairn was out last week, so it's going to be a high-scoring week for everybody coming up, I would think. Yeah, Ravens expected to crush Giants. I think it's a 17-point spread, something like that. But so you got to score points to get there, but they'll probably have an easy time stopping the Giants from scoring. All right. Wow. Yeah, Bengals up here. Expecting some turnovers, I guess. Where is he? Yeah. Surprised the Cowboys are this low, but whatever. Hopefully you got Josh Allen and he'll just carry you to the title. So good luck this week, everybody. I'm going to set some of these lineups myself. And yeah, so Allen, QB1, Henry, RB1, Chase, wide receiver 1. Definitely not Kittle, I don't think. Probably Bauer's going to end up being there. I would say my RB1, though, Barkley. Just give me Barkley there over Henry. But I'm sticking with these other ones they got. Boom. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, good luck this week. And I will catch y'all in the next one. See ya.